is attorney Sarah Holmes from Holmes Business Law PC, and today we are talking about how an employer would comply with discrimination laws in employment. Now, if you read the news or social media, it's apparent that there's been just a huge tidal shift in employment recently, with employees kind of outing employers that had some really terrible and harmful employment practices around discrimination or harassment. And it's certainly something that every employer should be concerned with. Even if it's not your management doing the harassment or the discrimination, you still need to be concerned about your staff and make sure that your staff is adequately trained in proper behavior in the workplace. So things like jokes, stereotyping, maybe any kind of like unwanted touching, even if it's playful. All those types of things you want to be educating your employees around how that could be problematic in the workplace. So one thing you want to really think about is maybe investing in some employee training. The next thing you want to do is have written policies and procedures for your employees to feel safe in reporting any type of harassment or discrimination in the workplace. What you really don't want is an employee never telling you about it, never giving you an opportunity to remedy it, never giving an opportunity for investigation. So you want to have some really good written policies around that as to what would happen if one of your employees felt discriminated against or harassed in the workplace. Third is you're going to have procedures in place to follow through on those policies. So if you are the owner of a company and there's no barrier between you and your employees, meaning you don't have a manager, and your employee feels that you are the one doing the bad behavior, you don't also want to be the one investigating those claims. So you might want to consider having a manager. You could consider having an outside investigator come in. You want to really have some type of layer between your employees and whoever they feel is being problematic, and have that neutral person talk to the employees and maybe conduct an investigation and figure out what's going on there. So you want to have policies around that. You also want to drive to have an inclusive workplace. So your documents and your company culture should really speak to being inclusive and making everyone feel welcome, and having strong policies around that. Oh, the other thing you really have to do is you have to make sure that your general employment policies and standards are applied equally across the board. Meaning, if you have a policy that all employees need to be at their desks and working by 9 a.m., you need to really enforce that across everybody. You can't say, well, Jane's a really great worker, we like Jane. Jane comes in at 9:30, we're going to let it slide. You really have to be careful doing that, because it can set you up for a potential discrimination claim in that you're not treating all of your workers equally or maybe fairly. So if you have policies and procedures in place, the goal is to implement and enforce them all the same across the board for all of your employees. The other way is to take swift action. Anytime an employee even starts mentioning harassment or discrimination in the workplace, and they might not mention it immediately to management or anyone in charge, it might be something they're discussing with other workers. You want to make sure that very quickly your company takes control of that and figures out what's going on and provides a safe and confidential avenue for your employee to talk to someone so that this can be remedied and investigated immediately. So if you need help implementing any types of harassment or discrimination policies and procedures in your workplace, feel free to reach out to us, Holmes Business Law PC. Our contact info is below. Thanks.